records, one I'll go for now. Sydney's lockdown restrictions continue. Marc and I decided long ago to press on with segments about our favourite records and our love for them. All this week we've been looking at rivalries, whether they were competitive and friendly or whether they were bitter and acrimonious. Today's episode is about two friends who start off as unknowns, become really good friends, besties, but their careers sort of set off at slightly different times, and there's a little bit of jealousy, a bit of rivalry, and there's a bit of tragedy and a lot of friendship. We're going back to the 1970s, we're going back to England, and I'm looking at
ground control to Major Tom,
David Bowie and Marc Bolan of T-Rex. Like I said, they were best of friends. They met at Les Con's offices, who was their shared manager. And they were so poor that they couldn't afford to pay him, so he got both of them to paint his or whitewash his offices, and this is where they met, and this is where this great friendship starts. You know, they love music, they're both aspiring musicians, they spend a lot of time together, jamming together, they go to gigs together, they experience, psychedelia together, and folk music type of thing. But of course, Marc Bolan's career gets the head start with Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there's a bit of success on the charts, and of course he asks David Bowie to support him on a tour, but on the proviso that he mimes his show. Oof. Right? And of course David Bowie gets booed, that this is what his start is, and of course this changes when David Bowie receives some chart success with Space Oddity. Now this is a turning point in the rivalry because of course of the chart success, the producer Tony Visconti, who produces both Tyrannosaurus Rex and David Bowie, begins to draw more attention towards David Bowie. Maybe he can see more depth in him, and of course Marc Bolan doesn't like this. Yes, also David Bowie references Marc Bolan and All Young Dudes, and also Lady Stardust, about the makeup on the face and people laughing at this makeup, this animal grace. So you can see the referencing there. They are neck to neck in the charts also. You've got David Bowie with Starman, Starman. You've got John and Only Sleeping and Jean Jenny, roughly top 10 hits. But then you've got things like, Metal Guru #1 for T-Rex, and also, Children of the Revolution that goes #2. Can I just say that also Marc Bolan is very clever and astute, because he sees, this Ziggy Stardust persona of David Bowie causing interest, and he then changes the name from Tyrannosaurus Rex to T-Rex to make it more marketable. So you can see there's a lot going on here between the two friends. Now, of course, once glam rock sort of fizzles out, because T-Rex were massive. Visconti calls them the T-Rextasy of fans, because they were pop stars. But I suppose, pop is a little bit fickle, and of course, glam sort of goes by the wayside, and T-Rex goes with that. Whereas David Bowie's career goes on and on and on. The Ziggy Stardust persona goes, and the great Thin Duke comes around. And so he makes it also in America, something that T-Rex did not do. So you can see that their careers are on two different paths. One's going down and the other one's going higher and higher. But in 1978, Marc Bolan is given a 6-episode rock show, and his last episode, there's a coup where he gets David Bowie to come on the show to sing Heroes. What a magic song, amazing. And of course, he kills it, and there's the end of the show where the two friends are actually jamming together. Now, only a few days after this show, Marc Bolan's wife, Gloria, hits a tree or a pole, and of course Marc Bolan is killed in a tragedy, in a car accident. David Bowie turns up at the funeral like a great friend, and guess what he does? He offers to pay for Roland, which is Gloria and Marc's son, his studies fees. and he does so. And, you know, he does say to Glory, if you ever need anything, please just ring me. And that is a true sign of friendship. And there's a publicist for both Marc Bolan and David Bowie called Keith Altham, and he says the same thing. They were rivals, you know, there were petty jealousies between the two, but in the end they were great friends and they were like brothers. So what have I chosen to look at today's episode? I've chosen a very, very strange David Bowie song and his first hit. Let's have a look. It's Space Oddity, but I don't want to look at Space Oddity. I want to look at the B-side. I want to look at The Man Who Sold the World, because I love the riff. And for T-Rex, I want to look at Telegram Sam. You know what I love about this? He was, you know, T-Rex was so big, they even got their individual sleeves, which is amazing, don't you think? Yes. So let's start with The Man Who Sold the World, the B-side to Space Oddity. Now, Space Oddity, Ground Control to Major Tom, that space exploration, an amazing song altogether. His first chart topper. But I'm going for the Man Who Sold the World because I find that much more interesting, because you know, this song, you know, its stature grew as time went on, and we'll have a look at it. Now, it's a great song because, you know, it shows the depth in David Bowie, you know, take on this persona Ziggy Stardust, because I love the lyrics where, you know, he goes up the stairs and he meets, you know, a man that isn't there, and, you know, he wasn't there again today, and I wish he'd go away. You know, the man who sold the world, the man who sold Ziggy Stardust to the world. And he sort of says, who knows, not me. I've always been in control. He's in control of this whole persona, which I find very, very interesting. You know, all these autobiographical references. But what really grabs my attention is the riff by Mark Ronson. Okay, that circular riff that's so dreamy and haunting. It is amazing. Now, over time, I mean, this was a B-side, but over time, its stature has grown. And I must say, Bowie looked back on it saying, you know, it was such a great period of writing and creativity, and he loves it. But what really changed the game probably was when Nirvana covered it for their MTV Unplugged. And it is such a great version, okay, top version, which even Bowie liked. You know, he thought it was very, very sincere. So, you know, so yes, you've got Ziggy Stardust and The Man Who Sold the World, and what a song and what a riff. Let's move on to Telegram Sam. You know, it's a pop rock type of song. Yes, there are some really, really strange references to all these individuals like Bobby and Jungle Face Jake and Golden Nose Slim and Purple Pie Pete. Who are these individuals? You know, I'd love to find out who he's referencing here. But there's also some classic lines. So, for example, I'm a funk, but I don't care. I ain't no square with my corkscrew hair. So he's playing with a lot of language. I love the riff, but the riff reminds me a lot of their previous hit called Get It On. So it's sort of that style. It's catchy, it's groovy. You know, the chorus, you know, you're my main man. The main man, of course, they reckon is his manager, Tony Seconda, who is, of course, his manager, but also could be the supplier of his narcotics also. And yes, that's quite interesting because he's the main man. Like I said, this comes in the middle of T-Rextasy. You know, they were pop stars. They were amazing T-Rex. You know, but unfortunately, when you're a pop star, okay, things fade. You know, it doesn't stay. It's quite fickle. Pop is quite fickle, and it changes very, very quickly. So we've got the B side of Space Oddity, which is The Man Who Sold the World, and we've got Telegram Sam, David Bowie versus Marc Bolan's T-Rex. Did you like T-Rex? Did you like David Bowie? Did you like David Bowie's Space Oddity and the Man Who Sold the World? Did you like Telegram Sound? Tell us all about it. Next we'll have a different segment altogether. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.